Hey everyone, it's Guard. Today is going to be another day of building up the collection of free to play. We've got hopefully going to go for another 7 wins draft. So let's just go ahead and get started. So we've got Relentless Wanderers, Hermes. Those are like the two outstanding picks. I think. Well, I don't want to say outstanding because they're not like Saruman level like from the last draft, but they're still decent. They're still good cards. The bad cards are Cultivate, Unstable Aesir, and Necroplasm. These cards are just bad. I would never recommend you take them. Unstable Aesir is probably the worst heroic in the set. It's just so small. It has Defender, and its ability is just not very relevant. It's like a really bad Halazith, but stapled on a creature that doesn't scale. You have to level it, and it can't attack. So it's like, why bother? Necroplasm is actually fine. It ranks 1 and 2. Its ability doesn't really matter. Sometimes you can like get them with the random discard if you make them discard their like level 2 or whatever. So that's probably the best use of it. But once you get up to rank 3, it gets 1 power and like a bunch of a bunch of health, which is not that good. And Cultivate, of course, requires a bunch of plants, which you don't want to have plants to make a creature. That you'd rather just have a creature. War Machine's a good card. It's fine. I'm not going to take it because it's really deck dependent. I don't usually build a bunch of swarm decks, so I think the pick is between Relentless Wanderers and Hermes. Relentless Wanderers is a very good card that can snowball a game. If you get raid really easily, you spawn a Relentless Wanderers, which can then spawn a Relentless Wanderers, so it's really hard to kill. But I only like that in Umbric, really, Utera Tempest, because the other ones it's a lot harder to trigger raid. And I just drafted Degen, right? So I don't want to. I want to try and mix up the factions every time. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Aloyan, which is neither of the factions I drafted last time. And Hermes is a card I like. So go ahead and take Hermes, even though I think I would probably, in a normal draft, I'd probably take what was it called? Relentless Wanderers? Just because it's Utera. And Utera is like the strongest you can be. Which is, I think, the pick is between Shardclaw Crusher and Warbringer Aronti. Shardclaw Crusher is a very good card. Lets you pump your underleveled cards and your on-level cards to make a big threat. And Aronti Warbringer does not do that. It just helps you trade up with your creatures that are already on the board. And the other cards aren't really worth talking about. I think the pick's probably Shardclaw Crusher, but I want to draft Oratek. What's it called? Tempest Aloyan. So I have only drafted this deck once, and I did horribly, so I'm hoping to redeem myself. And I'm ignoring the alluring call of the Utera faction. So Barrier Soldier is really good, but so is Forge Guardian Alpha. And the way I understand it is that Aloyan and Tempest were designed to be a wall deck. So you draft all the good walls, and then you can make them lose Defender with Metadata Reactor or what's it called, Flame Instigator. So I'm gonna take the Forge Guardian Alpha because it's actually pretty good. Like a 4/8 is decent at level 1, 8/14 is great, 20/26 is superb. The only downside, of course, is that it can't attack. So if you can alleviate that downside with a Flame Instigator, it's a really solid card. Whereas Barrier Soldier is such a good card. Like it's a 5/5, 10/10, 15/15, good stats, and its ability isn't irrelevant. It saves you a bunch of life. But Forge Guardian Alpha can win me the game. Barrier Soldier usually just stops you from losing it. Jetpack no longer removes armor, which it used to, or not armor, defender. It used to remove defender, and it was very, very good. But now you have to be Tempest in order to remove defender. And I think Vault Intruder and Ashmane are the. I would probably take the Vault Intruder here, but Ashmane's a heroic, and I want to grab all the heroics I can because we're trying to build a collection here. And Volcano Giant is better than Sparksoul. Sparksoul is just a lot smaller in rank 2 actually, which is why I think it gets the nod. Having a 10/10 in rank 2 is much better than a 9/8. Plus, the Volcano Giant ability is much more relevant than the Spark Soul. Cards I like in this pack are Volcano Giant, Flowstone Primordial, and Meta Transfer. I do not like Firelight Hunter, Sap, or Jetpack. Jetpack is just not that good. It gives some attack and mobility, which is nice. Like it's not a bad card to have. It's just not a card I really want. Like it's a card I can live without. Sap is just bad. It reduces a level 1 creature to attack to 0, which is pretty much what Meta Transfer would do, also at rank 1. But you get to level a card. And Firelight Hunter is just a card I don't like. I've talked about this a lot, pretty much every time I see it. I just don't like playing a small creature in an unopposed lane to finish off another creature. and then have a like useless 4/2. So we've got what Volcano Giant and Primordial. The downside of Primordial is it's only a 7/8 rank 2, but it's a 6/7 rank 1, which is really good. It's above the curve. If I'm gonna be drafting walls, I don't think I need a lot of big butts like a 6/7. I think I'd rather have the Volcano Giant. Actually, Alolan has a lot of small creatures which don't like other than Vault Intruder. Its creatures are pretty small. So maybe I just want the large power and toughness of a level 1 Flowstar Primordial. And then we'll take, I guess, Cinder Colossus. Cinder Colossus is like the biggest wall outside of Forge Guardian Alpha, because it's a 13/14 rank 2, which is huge, way bigger than Forge Guardian Alpha. But its level 1 is really bad. So I'm just going to take the Cinder Colossus, because I'm only passing up like a Cragwalker, I guess. Like that's the next best card in this pack. And then I could take Flowstorm Primordial, but I'd rather have one Palladium Wave in my deck, just in case the game gets hard and I have to play against like Sting Invocation or something. Palladium Wave solves that. And so Totem Bone Berserkers are really good a way to move your stuff out of the way and kill their creatures. But Flame Instigator turns on my walls, which is kind of what I want to be doing. I already have 2 walls that are pretty good that I want to turn on, so let's go ahead and take the Instigator instead of the Berserker. And I'll take Sonic Pulse because it's heroic. And there's the Metadata Reactor, but this is kind of hard because I have a Warhound Raider is a very good card. The problem with it in my deck is that I don't have any raid right now, so it's not very good. And I don't have any formation either, so I can't use the wolf for formation. Of course, it's only pick 10, and I already have a card which turns on my walls, which is the Flame Instigator, so I don't really need Metadata Reactor. So I think Warhound Raider's probably just the pick here. It's a really flexible card. Like, it's solidly sized. If you compare to Volcano Giant, it's bigger at rank 1, smaller at rank 2, and bigger at rank 3. Its ability is worse, but the Warhound Cursor helps with the formation a lot. So if I pick up like a Metadata Reactor in the future or Ordnance Captain or something like that, the dog helps out a lot with all that stuff. The other card, this pack's actually pretty good. Like, I would not mind taking, if Warhound Raider were in the pack, I wouldn't mind taking Batterbot, Orazielonus, or Stampeding Monkasaur. Like, those are all solid cards. I'd probably lean towards the Batterbot just because it's very large. And then we've got Ordnance Captain, Armory Outpost, Fit of Rage, Alolan General. I don't actually know what the pick is. Ordnance Captain has not impressed me very much. I liked it initially, but it's just so small if you don't have formation. Like 6/10 and 8/14 are really bad stats for those levels. Let's see. I don't have any Skynet Gliders, so it's a lot harder to use Armory Outpost, but that could help me snowball if I get a lot of creatures in place with my Ash Maiden and then I can Armory Outpost them. That would be pretty nice. I think I want to play with Armory Outpost, I think. I haven't played with this card yet, and I think it's good. And I think I'm going to take the Forge Guardian. I just like Forge Guardian more than Steelskin Splunker. Even though it's at odds with my Ash Maiden, Steelskin Splunker has not enough upside. And even though I have, 2 robots right now? 3 robots. Forge Guardian Alpha is still better than Flowsteel Carrier. How far Herald of Destruction has fallen. This card used to deal damage to creatures, but it no longer does. So I'll take the Sap just in case they have a Werewood Patriot or a Deep Branch Prowler plus Pump Spell. Sap deals with it. Shatterbolt's probably the pick here. Steelskin Tinkerer is one of those cards which is not very good. Not at all. It's just so small it doesn't matter. It's a 1/9. That's too small to matter. So let's just take the Shatterbolt. Then Theme versus Good is the pick of the day here. Tower Cannoneer pumps your defenders, or my defenders. And it's a decently sized creature. 6/4, 12/10 is really solid. Especially 12/10. That's really good stats. But 14/12 is really bad for a rank 3 card. It's like Zombie Dread Knight level. And instead of pumping regen creatures' health, it pumps defenders' attacks, which is not nearly as good. At the same time, Blizzard Shaman can help move my defenders that have already blocked. I've got 3 Forge Guardian Alphas, right? So Blizzard Shaman is going to be quite good, and it's really strong at rank 1 and 2. So I think it's probably going to be better than Tower Cannoneer, even with the Cannoneer's thematic wall boosting ability. And we'll take Sonic Pulse again because it's a heroic, even though the pick is between Aether type Shaman and Naranti Elementalist. By taking the Sonic Pulse, it puts me at 2, maybe 3 if I. No, it's 2 Sonic Pulses, right? Yeah. So if I get a third and fourth one later on, I can just start crafting them for silver and start making my way towards the deck. And Chaos Twister easily to pick here. Really, really good removal spell. It doesn't scale very well, 6, 8, 10, but having the ability to do 18 damage at rank 3 if their creatures are in formation can totally just destroy a board. And then we take the Volcano Giant because we have enough defenders. Like we don't need another 4/10. Another Ash Maiden. This Ash Maiden is such an awkward card in my deck because I don't have any like my defenders. These Forge Guardian Alpha is the card I'm going to be playing the most, and I have a Hermes, which also gives my creatures defender. So Ash Maiden's going to be pretty bad in my deck unless I'm attacking with like Warhound Raider or Flowstone Primordial or something like that. But it's still heroic, and it's quite a good card if I weren't playing Wolves. Got another Chaos Twister, or I could take the Vault Intruder. I've not actually drafted Chaos Twister yet. This is the first draft I've seen it, believe it or not. I know the card exists because I've died to it before. I just have not ever seen it in a draft. So I've got a pretty good creature base. I don't think I need Vault Intruder. I've got 2 Giants, Warhound Raider, and a Blizzard Shaman for good threats, plus the Fullstone Primordial, and the Forge Guardian Office, which I want to be playing quite a bit to pump up, to make sure I have a good late game threat for my Flame Investigator. So I think I'm just going to take Chaos Twister here. Also helps prolong the game, which is not irrelevant. Blizzard Shaman, again, for the same reasons last time. I haven't talked about Rift Lasher. I've seen it like twice now. It's really bad. It's just way too small, levels really poorly, and you have to use a removal spell to make it deal 3 damage to a creature. It's just nowhere near good enough. And Tower Vanguard is kind of like the same. It's different, but it's kind of like the same thing. It just requires another card in order to be okay. So let's go ahead and take the Shaman, and then Bulwark Bash is unplayable. Anvil and Arbiter is like a bad version of the Defender. It's a 7/10 at rank 2, which is nowhere near as good as an 8/14. And then Cloudcleaver Titan is an excellent card. Also works with my 2 Ash Maidens. And here's another pick where I wish I could take anything but the heroic. Not that Trial by Combat's a bad card. It's actually really good in this deck because you give your creature, or I give my creature +3 attack, and then it deals damage to the other creature. And the creatures I'll be using that on are probably like 4/3 walls or walls that have been damaged or something like that. So I can Trial by Combat and use my excess walls to clear their board, and that's going to be very strong. That's why I picked the Blizzard Shamans as well, because you can move the walls in front of their other creatures so that the walls just aren't sitting there uselessly. Because that's one thing you really have to be looking at when you build a wall deck. You don't want to just play walls and have them sit in lanes doing nothing while your opponent's playing in other lanes. You want to make sure your walls are able to either attack with like Flame Instigator, or you can move them in order to keep their usefulness alive. That they aren't just sitting there wasting space. And there's another Ash Maiden. This actually puts me in a playset of Ash Maidens. Which is very interesting for one draft. Last time I guess I did one draft the other day where I had 3 Damaris pick guards. That just got me instantly a set of pick guards. That was on my main account though, not my free-to-play account. So unfortunate there. I'm really thinking about Ordnance or Ice-Shod Berserker instead of Ordnance Captain. Ordnance Captain's not super great in my deck. I've got easy ways to get formation because I have a lot of walls and high toughness creatures, but at the same time, I'm not an aggressive deck. And Ordnance Captain is very small, whereas Ice Shard Berserker has 9 power at rank 1 and then 15 at rank 2, which makes it a god amongst underdrops. So I think it's by far the best pick. And I'll take a Mongosaur. I have a lot of spells already. I don't really want a jetpack. And Mongosaur is 6/6, 10, 10, 15, 18. So it's kind of like Volcano Giant, just its ability isn't going to be as relevant. And then I could just take... What does Defense Spire do? It's friendly creatures get armor 6. So this can save my creatures, and this can... It's probably not going to be relevant ever. It's just too small to matter. 2/6 is really small. 7/11 actually pretty good, especially with aggressive. But then it levels up into a 9/13, which is really bad for a level 3 creature. So it's like really bad, good, and then really bad again, which is not a curve I like. Defense Spire at least can save your creatures if you choose to play it, and then it removes itself from your deck and you have to draw it again. So we'll go ahead and pick that. And that's our draft. I would have liked another Flame Instigator and nowhere near as many Ash Maidens as I have. But, I mean, no regrets because, that's a playset of heroics in one draft, which is excellent. And we'll go ahead and stop the video here, and the first round will be in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.